Hey everyone, this is Harish. Welcome to my channel. Today in this video, I'll be talking about how to retrieve the data present in this RAM. This RAM may be present in your laptop, PCs or any sort of servers. So whatever the data which is present in the RAM, we will try to retrieve those data. Without any further ado, let's get into my laptop screen. Before that, like, share the video and subscribe to my channel to get the latest notification on my new videos. Now that I am on my laptop screen, before explaining how exactly we can retrieve the data from the RAM, I would take 1 to 2 minutes to explain you what exactly is RAM and what sort of data is stored in RAM. Okay, so RAM stands for random access memory. It is a piece of hardware which is located in between your CPU and storage device such as your hard disk or SSD. Okay, it is a volatile memory. What do I mean by volatile memories? Whatever the data which is stored in the RAM, it gets destroyed when your system is power off. It means the data get vanished. Okay, it is not permanent. Okay, it is just a temporary storage which is situated near to the CPU. Why do we store data in the RAM is for faster access. Okay, if CPU wants to do some operation and the frequently done operation is stored in the RAM, so that if we need that data again, we can access it faster. Okay, to explain this with proper visualization, I have created an illustration here. So here is the illustration. Let me explain you what happens. So think of a scenario wherein I have a Chrome application, okay, wherein I want to run this Chrome application. This Chrome is nothing but it is also called as a program. Okay, so if I tell program, this will have a set of lines. Okay, that is a code. Okay, code is written. So this is basically my program. Okay, so I have an operating system. Okay, so this operating system, the core part is kernel. So what happens is, whenever I want to run this Chrome application, okay, I give a command to OS, my operating system, telling that I want to launch this program, that is Chrome. So what kernel does is, in the RAM, okay, this is a RAM. In the RAM, it allocates some memory to this program. Okay, what it will do, this operating system will take this program from here and it will put this in this RAM. Okay, at that time, this is known as process. This is process. What happens whenever the program is loaded from the storage device to the RAM, that becomes a process. Now this is not a Chrome program, this is a Chrome process. So for this process, some amount of RAM is allocated to this process to run. Okay, the remaining part of the main, whatever the source code of this Chrome, is stored in storage device such as hard disk. Okay, this is a basic idea how the process goes. Okay, so I have shown here with the help of a diagram. Basically I have an application here, 3 application. Think of this application as a Chrome. So whenever I want to run this Chrome application, what my operating system does is, it takes from the from the storage device such as hard disk, it take that Chrome application and it load that into a RAM. Okay, who does that? That is done by my kernel, or you can call it as operating system. Okay, that is done by my operating system. And in this RAM, some part of the RAM is been allocated to my this Chrome process, basically a Chrome program. Whenever I put that program into the RAM, it becomes a process. Okay, some amount of memory is been allocated. Who will decide how much memory should be allocated? That is decided by a module which is known as memory management unit. Okay, it is a part of kernel itself. Okay, so I have just assumed this part has been allocated for Chrome process. Program called PuTTY, okay, to do SSH. So I'll be showing in this system, Red Hat system. Okay, so how it is done. Okay, what do I mean by retrieving the data from RAM? This is my RAM and I want to retrieve the data from the RAM. Initially we had a provision to access the RAM directly and retrieve the data stored in this RAM, but now we cannot access the RAM directly. Okay, we have to talk to kernel on behalf of us will get the data and it will dump in the storage, then we can access the hard disk. Okay, what do I mean is like, so think of this is a storage device. Okay, storage such as hard disk drive. So what I will be doing is I will be making use of a tool which is known as LIME, which is Linux memory extractor. Okay, this is a tool basically. Okay, it is a tool or a software or a kernel module. What this tool will do is we will download this tool from the internet, and what I will do, I will insert this tool into the kernel. And when I insert this into the kernel, what it does is like this tool will go to the RAM and get all the data stored in the RAM, not a single data, all the data. If your RAM is 8 GB, all the data which is present in the 8 GB of RAM, everything it will get the data and it will dump that data into the storage. Okay, it will dump that data into the storage, that is your hard disk. Okay, where should I dump? I will create one file named ramdata.mem. I will create a file called RAM data and I will get all the data from the RAM and I will store in this RAM data file so that we can analyze this RAM data file and get the data which we want. Okay, because in RAM there will be so much data. Okay, all the process, whatever the process is running, all those information, username, password, then encrypted, whatever the encrypted data was stored in your hard disk, that would be decrypted and it will be stored in your RAM. All the crucial data will be stored in your RAM. I will tell you what are the types of data which is stored in RAM shortly. So all those data will be present in the RAM, but we don't need all the data. Whatever the data I want, I will analyze whatever is there in RAM and I will get that data. This is the procedure what we will be following. Okay, so we will be making use of this called Linux memory extractor. There are other tools also. Okay, like forensic tool in Windows, forensic toolkit is there. Then in Mac also there is a memory extractor. Okay, now let's dive into that. So here on the screen you can see I have mentioned what are the importance data which is present in the RAM. So the first data is like username, password, network information, all the information related to your process, list of running process, presently opened file and application, and whatever the keystrokes, whatever you type in your keyboard, what it does is initially it goes to the process in the current application which you are using. Example, if I am using a text editor, whatever I am typing, the text editor is a process. Okay, basically because it is running in the RAM. So I will enter the data in the RAM. Later when I save it, when I do Control S, or if I save the text editor, whatever the data is present in text editor, then it stores in the storage, secondary storage device. Okay, until then whatever the keystrokes, everything is stored in the RAM. Then unencrypted data from the encrypted disk and tons of other crucial information. Okay, these are the types of data which is stored in the RAM. So what are the tools that we can use? If you are using a Windows operating system, we have FTK Imager, which is forensic toolkit. For Mac, we have a Mac memory reader. For Linux, we have a, as I mentioned previously, Linux memory extractor. These are the popular tools. There are other tools as well. You can try those things. I have just listed the popular tools. Okay. So I'll just go to my system. So you can see I am on my Red Hat system and I am inside a root directory. So what I'll do, I will go to my Google Chrome and I will download Linux memory extractor. Okay, this is a tool. So I have a GitHub repo link here. So I will download from this GitHub. I'll give the link of this GitHub in my description box. So you can see here code, click on the code and copy this link. Okay, so go to your terminal of your system. So what I'll do git clone and the URL. So I am on the terminal. Either you can use from direct VirtualBox or with the help of this putty you can make. I have just connected to that system via SSH. Okay. So what I will be doing, I will go to my Red Hat system and I will type here git clone clone, and the link what I copied from the internet, I'll paste that link. I have pasted the link. So what this will do is it will install the whatever the this tool will be installed in your system with the help of Git. In all the modern operating system, the Git will be pre-installed tool. If the Git is not present in your system, you can just do yum install Git. If you are on any Red Hat distribution, if you are into Ubuntu, you can use apt command instead of this yum. Okay, this is basically a package management tool. So Git is already in my system. In case if it is not there in your system, you can make use of this command. So it's already there in my system, this one Git. So I have successfully downloaded this here. So what I will be doing is, I will go to my terminal, I will just list it, and you can see here there is lime folder. Okay, so what I will do, I will go inside this lime folder, change directory to lime. Okay, then I will do ls. Inside that I have a source. I will go inside the source folder and ls. So see what I have to do, there are different source file. You can see here disk C, hash C, main C. There are different source code available here, but in order to communicate with the kernel, I need a single file that is a executable file. What I mean is it should be a binary file. Okay, basically object file. So but I have a source code here, right? So I need to compile this source code and convert it into a machine code, basically how you do in your C or C++ programming language, right? You have something code written in your C language, that is high level language. You make use of some GCC compiler or turbo compiler and you convert it into your machine code. The same way here I'll be making use of a make command, which is kind of a compiler. What it does is it converts the source code into binary file, and whatever the different binary files are there, what it will do, it will bundle together. Okay, so it will bundle together in a single file. It is basically, make command is used to build things. So what I will be doing here is I will be making use of a make command. This make command will be pre-installed in your system. If not, again you can follow the same procedure, yum install make command. Okay, it will do the needful. If not, in all the modern operating system, this make command will be installed. This is basically like a compiler, as well as it has some extra capabilities. So it is getting installed. You can see here whatever the disk.c file was there, it got converted into disk.o file, which is the object file, which is a binary file of the C. Whatever the main.c file was there, it got converted into its binary file. Then what it will do, ultimately all this binary file will get merged into one single file. Successfully it has been bundled. Let me do list. You can see here, first initially there were only few files, now there are many files with I have main.c, I have a corresponding main.o file, corresponding binary files are there, and all the object file, okay, .o stands for object, all this object file are being again merged together into a single file known as this lime-4 so and so .ko file. Focus this. This is the extension, means kernel object. Okay, this is the module, kernel module, which I was talking to you previously. Now this is the file which is going to which we are going to insert into the kernel, and this is the file who is going to get the data for us. Okay, so what we did, we had many source file, we just clubbed together into object file, that is ko file, this one. Okay, now that I don't need all the data present in this, right? So for that, what I will do is, so there is some problem with this putty, so let me do it here itself. ls. So I have a lime file here, I'll just go inside that. There was some problem with the putty software, so I am doing it directly from this terminal. See, we are back here. So this is the file which we built it with the help of make command. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll open one more tab and I'll create some data in the RAM now. Okay, because later we will be retrieving the same data. So what I'll do, I will launch Python 3. Okay, now as soon as I launch this Python 3, this program has become a process and this is there inside a RAM. Okay, so what I will do here, I'll be typing here is number. I'll create one variable is number and store 550 in that, 55. So I'll check whether it is stored successfully. So you can see I have created a variable whose value is integer, and it is 55. Okay, so what I have done in the RAM, I have created is number variable and I have stored 55, and successfully that is there. Now what I will do is, with the help of that tool, I will retrieve all the data present in the RAM, and I will try to investigate whether this is number variable is present in RAM or not, because that will prove that in a program whatever the variables you create, variables function, everything is stored in the RAM. Okay, so here what I will be doing is, I will write a command insert module. Okay, this is again the pre-install command in your Linux system. What this does is, it will install the module to your kernel. Which module we are installing? We are installing this one. Okay, so which is give the name of a module, and as I told earlier, this module is going to get the data from the RAM, and it has to store in the hard disk. So inside this code, I will give the path for the hard disk. So in the current directory, the name of the file should be ramdata.memory, and what format the data should be stored? It should be in a raw format. You can give any other format. There are plenty of options for this. As of now, whatever the data is present in the RAM, I am just storing exactly same thing. I am not doing any kind of structuring or formatting thing. Okay, so I will execute this thing. So it will take 1 to 2 minutes, because depending upon your RAM size and your IO operation, okay, whatever the read write operation happens, depending on that, it will take 1 to 2 minutes, because mine is 8 GB of RAM. So what it has to do is, all the data which is present in that 8 GB of RAM, it has to get everything and store in this file RAM data. For that it will take a couple of minutes. Let's wait for that. So now that this command has been successfully executed, and all the data from the RAM is been dumped into this RAM data file which is present in my hard disk. Okay, let me list it. Now you can see there is one extra file known as ramdata.mem, okay, with the extension mem. Why mem? Because it is a memory data. It would be in zeros and one format. So instead of storing in some txt file, I have given the extension memory. So all the data which is present in your RAM, okay, whatever the size of your RAM may be, everything is present inside this RAM data file. Okay, so let me see, let me read with the help of cat command, cat RAM data. Okay, see, you will see all sort of, because it is a binary file and your terminal does not have that capability to read the binary file. Okay, that is why, see, it is showing some sort of symbols or mnemonics. Okay, so the output is not clear, but this is a RAM data. Okay, let me prove you that. So run the same command. I will give piping. Piping is basically, pipe symbol is used when you want to give whatever the output of this command, previous command, if you want to give as an input to the other command, next command. So we will use this piping. So what I will do, I will write strings. Strings is one command which will convert the data, whatever the sort of data, to string. So what I am doing here is, I am telling, hey cat command, whatever the data present in the RAM data file, read that file and don't display in the terminal output, give that output as an input to the string command. Okay, now let me run this. Now the output is been improved. Okay, initially it was some sort of symbols, now at least it is understandable, but it is not meaningful. Okay, so let me again improvise the output. So this is basically a RAM data. You can see Red Hat secure boot, and all sort of some variables is been stored, some number is there. There is lot of data, okay, but it is not understandable and there is no meaning for this. Okay, there is boot, exit boot, failed, read ROM, okay, all these things. So what I will do now is, I have created some data in the RAM. What is that data? Is number equal to 55 is the data which I have created in the RAM. What I will do, I will try to get this data, okay, because this is still a process. I have not exited this process, so still this is present in RAM. What I will try to do, so I will run the same command, and what I will do, whatever the strings output is there, no, I will pass to the grep command. So whatever the output of the string command is there, I will pass that as an input to the grep command, and what I need to search is number. Is that the same name what I have given here? Is number. Okay, see what I am doing here. With the help of cat command, I am trying to display the data present in RAM data file, and that output I am sending to the strings with the help of piping. And whatever the output of string, this one, because there is so many data, I want the data that is number equal to 55. I want only this data. So what I am doing, I am doing filtering, that is I am doing a search operation basically with the help of grep command. What is that I want to search in this data? Is number. Okay, so let me hit enter. Just see the magic what happens now. What it will do is it will scan the whole RAM data file and it will try to search this is number. Okay, still it's doing searching. You can see here now it has been successfully searched. See, it has searched is number present in the RAM and it is giving 55 is the value. Okay, let me cancel here itself. See here I have in the Python program I have stored the value is number is equals to 55, but when I searched is number variable, I am just checking whether is number variable present in RAM. So successfully this grep command is searching is number variable and it is telling in that is number variable corresponding 55 value is stored in the RAM. Okay, so that's all for today's video, the demo part. But to do this operation, okay, basically you need few commands which I will be giving in the description box. So you can see here now it has been successfully searched. Okay, whatever the variable I searched is number, whatever I was trying to check whether it is present in RAM, this has successfully been searched is number and it is telling the value stored in it is 55. Let us cross verify. See here in is number I have stored the value 55, and that is what the grep command is searching in this data. It is searching whether is number is present and it is getting the value 55. This is how we read the data whatever is present in the RAM. Okay, so if you get any sort of error in this process while before making use of make command or in all this, you need to install 2-3 packages. Okay, I'll give this command, okay, this package command in the description box below. You need to install few commands, okay, which are dependencies basically. So this link I will give in the description. Okay, you can install these commands if you face any error during this process. So that's all for today's video. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video. Until then, keep learning, keep growing.